First contact and brewing conflict. The human exploration vessel, Resilience, drifted through the outer reaches of the Antares Nebula, its unconventional design a stark contrast to the sleek ships that typically navigated this region of space. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes reflecting the cosmic dust clouds visible through the reinforced viewports as she studied the anomalous readings on the main console. "Captain, we're detecting an artificial structure ahead," announced Lieutenant Raj Patel, the sensor officer. His fingers danced across the holographic interface. "It's massive, and definitely not human in origin." Maya straightened her uniform. After 12 years commanding deep space missions, this was the moment every explorer dreamed of. First contact. Yellow alert. Bring us in slowly. Maintain open communication channels. The Resilience wasn't the Federation's most advanced ship. While newer vessels featured streamlined AI-integrated systems and antimatter propulsion, the Resilience was purposefully different. It had manual overrides for every automated function, redundant systems that engineers jokingly called backups for the backups, and modular components that could be repaired with basic tools. Some called it outdated, but Maya called it survival-ready. As they approached, the alien structure revealed itself to be an outpost, a gleaming citadel of impossibly smooth metal that seemed to absorb and redirect starlight. Before Maya could give further orders, Lieutenant Emma Wong at Communications announced, "Captain, we're being hailed." The main view screen activated, revealing a humanoid figure with iridescent silver skin and eyes that shifted between purple and blue like cosmic nebulae. "I am High Commander Zex of the Solorian Empire," the alien stated, its mouth barely moving as the words emerged in perfect English. "Your primitive vessel has entered sovereign Solorian space." Maya stepped forward confidently. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Federation vessel Resilience. We weren't aware this region had been claimed. We come as explorers and potential friends." Zex's eyes narrowed, head tilting as though examining a curious specimen. "Your ship. Our scans indicate multiple redundant systems, and are those manual control interfaces?" "Yes," Maya replied with pride. "The Resilience is designed to function under virtually any conditions, controlled by human hands if necessary." A sound emerged from Zex that the universal translator couldn't quite capture, something between amusement and disdain. "Fascinating. The Solorian Empire ceased using such contingencies centuries ago. Our systems achieve perfection through quantum certainty algorithms." Despite the condescension in Zex's tone, Maya maintained her diplomatic composure. First contact was too important to jeopardize over pride. "Different approaches often develop from different experiences," she offered. "We would welcome the opportunity to exchange knowledge." "Indeed," Zex replied. "The Solorian Empire extends hospitality to emerging species. You are invited to our nearest diplomatic hub for proper cultural exchange." 3 days later, Maya sat with her senior officers in an impossibly perfect spherical chamber aboard the Solorian diplomatic station. The walls shifted colors in harmony with the conversation, and atmospheric adjusters constantly fine-tuned the environment to match human comfort parameters with unsettling precision. High Commander Zex and 4 other Solorian officials sat across from them, discussing potential trade agreements and technological exchange. However, the conversation continually circled back to human spacecraft design. "Your vessels are fascinating in their inefficiency," said Science Director Lyrax, her silver skin shimmering under the ambient light. "You design as though expecting failure at every juncture." "Because space is unpredictable," replied Commander Darius Jackson, Maya's tactical officer. "Our redundancies have saved countless lives." "Only if your primary systems are flawed," countered Zex. "Solorian vessels haven't experienced a critical failure in over 700 cycles. Our quantum prediction algorithms account for all variables." Dr. Sofia Mendez, the Resilience's chief science officer, leaned forward. "And if you encounter something your algorithms haven't predicted? Something entirely new?" The Xalorians exchanged glances that Maya couldn't interpret. The algorithm accounts for all possible permutations, Zex stated flatly, as though reciting an unquestionable truth. Your human approach of manual backups, physical control systems, and what you call gut instinct, these are the hallmarks of a species that doesn't trust its own creations, or a species that respects the unknown, Maya countered. The meeting continued for hours, with the Xalorians demonstrating their perfect propulsion systems, their flawless communication network, and their impenetrable defense technology. With each explanation, their tone grew increasingly dismissive of human achievements. Walking back to their shuttle, Darius whispered to Maya, "They think we're children playing with sticks and stones." Maya nodded grimly. "And that worries me more than if they saw us as a threat." Over the next few weeks, the crew of the Resilience learned more about the Xalorians. They were an ancient species that had mastered interstellar travel millennia before humans launched their first satellite. They had encountered dozens of other species, most less advanced than themselves. The Xalorians spoke of these encounters as guiding developing civilizations, but something in their terminology made Maya uncomfortable. Her concerns deepened when Lieutenant Wong discovered encrypted files in the cultural exchange data, files that revealed the true nature of Xalorian guidance. "They've been systematically absorbing other species," Maya said as they reviewed the evidence in the secure conference room. "Not through outright conquest. They establish contact, share technology that makes the other species dependent on Xalorian systems, then gradually assume administrative control under the guise of efficiency optimization." "And if a species resists?" asked Dr. Mendez. Maya grimly displayed the information on the main screen, imagery showing the remains of a civilization called the Vantari. "They make examples. Their perfect ships with their perfect weapons leave nothing behind." "We need to warn Earth," said Raj urgently. "Already done," Maya replied. "But the message will take weeks to reach Federation space through secure channels. Until then, we maintain the appearance of cooperation." The following day, High Commander Zex invited Maya to observe Xalorian military exercises, a gesture of transparency and trust, as he called it. Maya watched as 100 Xalorian vessels moved in mathematically perfect formations, executing synchronized maneuvers with precision that human fleets could only dream of achieving. Their tactics were flawless, their coordination absolute. "Impressive," Maya admitted honestly. "This is merely a standard patrol exercise," said Zex with unmistakable pride. "The Xalorian understanding of strategic deployment transcends the chaos that less advanced species call warfare." "What do you mean?" asked Maya, careful to keep her tone curious rather than defensive. "We've studied your military history," Zex explained. "Your commanders praise concepts like adaptability and improvisation. You value the ability to, how do you phrase it, think outside the box. True strategic mastery requires perfect planning and execution, not desperate creativity in the face of failure." As Maya watched the Xalorian ships move like a single organism, she contemplated Earth's history, battles won by breaking formation, victories claimed through surprise and innovation, the countless times that humanity's desperate creativity had saved them from extinction. Perhaps, Maya suggested carefully, different species develop different approaches based on their unique evolutionary paths. Zex made that untranslatable sound again. Definitely a form of laughter or derision. "A diplomatic answer, Captain Chen. But history favors perfection, not improvisation. Remember that when your Federation considers its response to our offer of guidance." As Maya and her team returned to the Resilience that evening, she knew with cold certainty that conflict was inevitable. The Xalorians would never accept humanity as equals, and humans would never accept being controlled, no matter how benevolent the facade. "Set course away from Xalorian space," she ordered as she reached the bridge. "We need to prepare our defenses." Behind them, the perfect formations of Xalorian ships continued their flawless exercises, unaware that they would soon face an enemy that thrived on the very chaos they despised, an enemy whose primitive redundancies and inefficient backups would become their greatest strength in the face of the unexpected. Turning the tide. 2 months after first contact, the Resilience orbited the human colony on Proxima Prime, the Federation's outermost settlement. Captain Maya Chen reviewed the message on her secure console with a deepening frown. "They can't be serious," she muttered, pushing a strand of black hair away from her face. "What is it, Captain?" asked Commander Jackson, who had been reviewing defensive deployments nearby. Maya turned the screen so he could see. "The Xalorians are demanding that all human colonies accept immediate protective oversight. They want permanent Xalorian bases on every Federation world and veto authority over our expansion efforts." "That's not protection," Darius said grimly. "That's subjugation with a polite name." Maya nodded. Earth Command agrees. They've rejected the demands outright. Lieutenant Wong entered the bridge, carrying a tactical datapad. "Captain, you requested the unconventional defense scenarios." "Yes," Maya confirmed. "Federation intelligence believes the Xalorians will target outlying colonies first, make examples without risking full-scale war." She gestured to the view screen showing Proxima Prime below. "We're the only military vessel within response range of 4 colonies, including this one." 3 days later, their predictions proved correct. 5 Xalorian warships appeared at the edge of the Proxima system, their gleaming hulls catching the light of the distant sun as they moved in perfect formation toward the colony. "They're hailing us," Wong reported. The main screen activated, revealing a stern-faced Xalorian military commander. "I am Executor Vex of the Xalorian Compliance Fleet. You will withdraw your vessel from this system immediately. This colony now falls under Xalorian administration for its own protection." Maya stood firmly. "This is a human colony on a planet we discovered and settled legally. We reject your claim." Vex's color-shifting eyes narrowed. "Your rejection is noted, Captain, but meaningless. One outdated human vessel cannot stand against a Xalorian battle group. Your strategy of placing primitive ships as defensive assets is puzzling." "Perhaps there's more to our strategy than you understand," Maya replied calmly. "There is no depth to primitive thinking," Vex said dismissively. "You have 4 hours to depart before we implement protective measures." As the screen darkened, Lieutenant Patel turned to Maya. 5 ships against 1 aren't favorable odds, Captain." Maya's lips curved into a small smile. "Good thing we're not playing by conventional odds, then. Commander Jackson, I want the most unpredictable tactics you can devise, the kind that would make Academy instructors fail you." Darius grinned. "Those are my specialty, Captain." 4 hours later, the Xalorian ships approached in perfect formation, their symmetrical arrangement as much an artistic statement as a tactical one. Their hulls gleamed with an almost arrogant brilliance in the light of Proxima's sun. "They're charging weapons," Paddle reported from the sensor station. "Launch our decoys," ordered Maya. The Resilience released 8 small objects that registered on scanners as full-sized ships, a simple trick using amplified energy signatures and reflective surfaces that the ship's engineering team had hastily assembled. "The Xalorians are adjusting formation," Jackson reported. "They're spreading out to engage all targets simultaneously." Maya leaned forward in her command chair. "Now take us in, full impulse, then cut all systems on my mark." The Resilience surged forward, accelerating directly toward the lead Xalorian vessel. At the last possible moment, Maya shouted, "Mark." Every system aboard the Resilience shut down simultaneously. The engines went silent, and the ship's energy signature vanished from sensors while its momentum carried it forward. An old smuggler's trick that Commander Jackson had adapted from Earth's historical naval battles. "They've lost us," Dr. Mendez said with surprise from her auxiliary science station. The Xalorian ships fired on the decoys, their perfect formation becoming a liability as they focused on targets that weren't there while the real threat drifted silently past their defensive perimeter. "Bring us alongside their command vessel," Maya ordered. Weapons ready. The Resilience drifted silently into position. On the view screen, they could see the Silurian vessel up close. Beautiful, elegant, and completely unaware of their presence. Fire, Maya commanded. The Resilience's weapons might not have been the most advanced, but at point-blank range, they didn't need to be. The Silurian ship's perfect hull cracked under the barrage, its systems failing as its elegant design proved vulnerable to the unexpected attack. The other Silurian ships are turning to engage, Patel warned. Evasive pattern Omega, Maya ordered. Jackson had designed Omega patterns specifically for this encounter. Instead of the smooth, predictable evasive maneuvers that most ships used, it involved random thruster bursts, sudden stops, and directional changes that defied tactical sense. On screen, they watched as the Silurian weapons fired with precision at where the Resilience should have been based on conventional flight patterns. But the human ship was never where it was expected to be. Their targeting systems can't adapt, Jackson said with satisfaction. They're designed for perfect prediction against predictable opponents. The battle lasted 23 minutes. When it ended, 2 Silurian ships were disabled, 1 severely damaged, and the remaining 2 retreating at high speed. The bridge crew celebrated quietly, but Maya raised her hand for silence. This was just their first attempt, she said. They wanted to see how we would fight. And what did they learn? Asked Mendez. That we don't fight the way their algorithms predict, Maya replied. That might confuse them for now, but they'll adapt. Aboard his damaged vessel, Executor Vex reviewed the battle recordings with mounting frustration. The human vessel had moved in patterns that defied logic. It had voluntarily shut down systems in the middle of combat, a suicidal tactic by Silurian standards. It had fired from positions no properly designed warship would take. Inefficient, he muttered. Wasteful. Illogical. Yet the humans had won. Executor, his second approached cautiously. High Command requests your analysis. Vex's eyes narrowed. Tell them the humans are more unpredictable than anticipated, but it changes nothing. Their victory was random chance, not strategy. Random chance fails against sufficient force. 3 days later, the Resilience received an urgent transmission from Outpost Theta, a research station 2 systems away. 15 Silurian warships had surrounded the outpost. The message ended abruptly amid the sounds of weapons fire. They're escalating, Jackson said grimly as Maya assembled her senior staff. Yes, Maya agreed. But I've been studying the data from our encounter. The Silurians have a critical weakness. Their ships are perfectly designed but lack adaptability. Their systems are centralized with no redundancies. A single point of failure, Patel observed. Exactly, Maya said. And I have a plan. If we can capture one of their vessels intact. 2 weeks later, the Resilience approached Outpost Theta, now under Silurian control. Their ship had been modified, its external hull reconfigured to mimic the energy signature and appearance of a damaged Silurian scout vessel, close enough to fool distant sensors. They're hailing us, Wong reported. They think we're one of theirs. Open a channel, audio only, Maya ordered. Filter our response through the Silurian language patterns we've mapped. The ruse worked. The Silurians granted them emergency docking permission at the captured outpost. Once docked, a team led by Commander Jackson boarded the station wearing modified environmental suits that approximated Silurian appearance from a distance. The infiltration plan was anything but perfect. It relied on timing, distraction, and the Silurians' own assumption that no primitive species would attempt something so audacious. When alarms finally sounded, the human team was already in the command center. We've got control of their network, Jackson reported over the secure channel. Transmitting access codes now. Aboard the Resilience, Lieutenant Patel input the codes into their system. I'm in their battle network. Their ships communicate through a synchronized quantum link. They operate as a single entity. Can you isolate one of their vessels from the network? Maya asked. Working on it, Patel replied. his fingers moving across the interface. "There, I've targeted their prototype battlecruiser, the one docked on the far side of the station." "Commander Jackson, proceed to capture point," Maya ordered. The firefight through the station's corridors was chaotic, exactly how the humans preferred it. The Xalorians, trained for perfectly choreographed combat, struggled against opponents who deliberately created confusion, used improvised weapons, and changed tactics unpredictably. Jackson's team reached the docking bay where the targeted Xalorian battlecruiser was moored. With the ship isolated from the battle network, they forced their way aboard, securing the vessel against minimal resistance. "We have control of the ship," Jackson reported, "but we can't operate these systems. They are designed for Xalorian neural interfaces." "You don't need to operate them," Maya replied. "Just get to the engine core and implement the override sequence we discussed." While Jackson's team worked, Maya ordered the Resilience to create a diversion, drawing Xalorian attention away from their captured prize. The human vessel darted through the outpost's defensive perimeter, firing its sensor arrays and communication nodes rather than ships, another unexpected tactic that confused the Xalorians. Aboard the captured Xalorian battlecruiser, Jackson's team completed their modifications. They had essentially created a manual override for the ship's automated systems, a primitive adaptation that no Xalorian would have considered possible or logical. "Modifications complete," Jackson reported. "We've rerouted control through our portable interfaces. It's not elegant, but we can pilot this thing." "Excellent," Maya responded. "Initiate the next phase." The captured Xalorian vessel disengaged from the outpost, its engines glowing with power. The remaining Xalorian ships, detecting one of their own moving to engage, hesitated, their perfect algorithms unable to process the possibility of their own technology being turned against them. That moment of hesitation was all the humans needed. The captured battlecruiser, operated by Commander Jackson's team using their jury-rigged controls, opened fire on the Xalorian fleet. The surprise was complete. Xalorian defensive systems, calibrated to counter known weapons, failed to activate in time against their own weaponry. 3 Xalorian vessels were crippled in the initial barrage. The others attempted to regroup, but their predictable formations made them easy targets for both the Resilience and the captured battlecruiser. The battle turned decisively when Jackson's team activated the battlecruiser's command transponder, broadcasting false orders to the Xalorian fleet. Half the remaining vessels broke formation, creating further chaos that the humans exploited mercilessly. Within an hour, the Xalorian presence at Outpost Theta had been eliminated. 7 ships destroyed, 4 disabled, and the remainder retreated into deep space. On the main Xalorian command vessel, light years away, High Commander Zex reviewed the battle data with something approaching emotion. 15 ships defeated by a single human vessel and a captured prototype. It defied all logic, all prediction algorithms. "Impossible," he whispered. His aide approached cautiously. "High Commander, the War Council requests your assessment of the human threat." Zex stared at the tactical display, watching the simulation of the battle play out again. The chaotic, unpredictable maneuvers, the willingness to damage their own systems to gain advantage, the sheer audacity of capturing and using a Xalorian vessel. "Tell the Council," Zex said slowly, "that we have encountered something our algorithms cannot predict. The humans don't fight according to optimal tactics. They adapt, they improvise, they create. What are your orders regarding the human territories?" Zex was silent for a long moment. "Withdraw our forces to defensible positions. Initiate diplomatic contact. Propose a border treaty." "A treaty?" the aide asked, clearly shocked. "Not subjugation." "The cost analysis has changed," Zex replied, using terminology his subordinate would understand. "These humans, their primitive redundancies, their inefficient manual controls, their illogical tactical approaches, they function as variables our algorithms cannot process, and what cannot be predicted cannot be defeated," the aide finished quietly. Aboard the Resilience, Captain Maya Chen received the Silurian message with cautious optimism. A proposed treaty, recognition of Federation territory, and an invitation to establish formal diplomatic relations. "They're actually backing down," Mendez said with disbelief. Maya nodded. "For now. But this isn't over. It's evolving. The Silurians have existed for millennia believing their perfection was unassailable. We forced them to reconsider, but old beliefs die hard." "At least they're talking instead of shooting," Jackson offered. "Yes," Maya agreed. "And perhaps in time, they'll come to understand that our primitive traits, our redundancies, our backups, our ability to improvise, aren't weaknesses to be overcome. They're strengths forged through our evolution, our history, our very humanity." As the Resilience set course for Earth to deliver the treaty proposal, Maya gazed at the stars through the viewport. The ship hummed around her, not with the perfect harmony of Silurian technology,